My first day working at the bakery came to mind. It was a place filled with the warm scent of fresh bread and endless smiles. But that morning, an unexpected customer changed everything. Their words weighed heavier than my silence. Who was I? Just a cashier. But that day, I became so much more. Before I dive into my story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel to support me. Mornings at Brooks Bakery were always bustling. That day was no different. The aroma of freshly baked croissants and coffee filled the air, just like always. The long line of customers stretched before me, radiating the familiar warmth of organized chaos. I smiled because I loved working here. Connecting with people and brightening their day with a small gesture of kindness brought me joy. But that morning, the woman at the end of the line was different from the others. She wore an expensive coat, her gaze sharp and judgmental. As her turn approached, I greeted her in my usual friendly tone, "Good morning. How can I help you?" Yet her face showed no hint of warmth. Instead, with a condescending tone, she said, "Can someone else serve me?" For a moment, I froze. Her words hung in the air as I felt the weight of other customers' gazes shifting toward me. I won't lie, there was a knot in my chest, but it wasn't from shock or fear. It was more like the resurfacing of a familiar disappointment. Regaining my composure, I calmly replied, "I'm the cashier today. If you'd like to place an order, I'd be happy to assist you." Her eyebrows furrowed. She looked me up and down, then muttered just loudly enough for everyone to hear, "I don't want you touching my food." Silence fell over the bakery. While the other customers tried to piece together what was happening, I took a deep breath. My heart was pounding, but I managed to maintain an outward calm. I had long since learned the importance of staying composed in situations like this. "I can assist you," I said again, keeping my tone as gentle as I could. But the woman wasn't done. She raised her voice, shouting toward the back, "Is there a manager here? Someone needs to do this properly." It was as if a storm had erupted, and I was standing at its center. The woman's words hung in the air, and the entire bakery fell silent. Her condescending glare and sharp tone stirred something deep inside me, but I was determined not to lose my professionalism. Taking a deep breath and holding onto my smile, I said, "I can assist you," keeping my voice steady despite the lump forming in my throat. But the woman rolled her eyes and scowled. "No, I don't want you to," she snapped. "Isn't there anyone else?" At that moment, all the background sounds from the kitchen seemed to vanish. I could only hear the echo of her voice. Around me, I could feel the weight of the other customers' stares. Some were trying to piece together what was happening, while others openly expressed their discomfort. A few had already taken out their phones, recording the scene. Just as I was about to respond, Kevin stepped out from the kitchen. Kevin approached the counter with his usual calm but authoritative demeanor. "What seems to be the problem?" he asked, glancing between the woman and me. The woman drew a deep breath, looking at Kevin as though he was her savior. "Yes, there's a problem," she said, her voice hardening. "I don't want her to serve me. Can you get someone more suitable?" Kevin furrowed his brow and paused briefly. "Amelia is one of our best employees," he said, his tone calm yet firm. "Why don't you want her to assist you?" The woman momentarily looked down, but then raised her gaze to meet Kevin's, defiantly stating, "I don't want her touching my food." Her voice dripped with disdain and discomfort. Kevin's expression grew more serious. The silence in the bakery deepened. "You don't want Amelia to serve you because of her skin color, is that correct?" Kevin asked, his voice now sterner. The woman glanced around as though searching for an escape, but no one offered her any support. Slowly, her face began to flush with embarrassment. "Look," the woman muttered, her tone softening, "I just want to feel comfortable." But Kevin didn't respond immediately. He simply stared at her, his silence weighing heavily on the moment. Finally, he said firmly, "This is a place where everyone is treated equally. If that makes you uncomfortable, the door is right there." The stillness in the bakery broke. One customer muttered, "The woman's right," under their breath. but most of the glances cast toward her were sharp and disapproving. The woman's face flickered between anger and shame, but Kevin's unwavering stance made it clear there was no place for such behavior here. The woman's face flushed, but instead of backing down, she grew even angrier. "This is unacceptable," she snapped, her tone both furious and condescending. "I'm a customer, and my comfort should be prioritized. If I don't want service from someone, that's my right." Kevin stepped forward, crossing his arms. "If your discomfort is rooted in discrimination, this isn't the right place for you," he said firmly. A murmur rose among the other customers, their disapproval of the woman's behavior evident. The woman paused, then glared around at the others. "Really?" she scoffed. "You're going to kick out a customer? I came here to spend my money and this is the treatment I get? Great customer service." Suddenly, a man who had been sitting quietly in the corner stood up. Tall, dressed in a suit and radiating confidence, he walked over to the counter. Looking directly at the woman, he spoke calmly. "When I came here this morning to grab my coffee, I didn't expect to witness this," he began. "But now I have to say something. This bakery isn't just known for its amazing products, but also for its amazing staff. Amelia has been a part of this place for years, always demonstrating professionalism. But your behavior? Let me be clear, you don't belong here." The redness in the woman's face deepened. "You're not respecting my views," she shouted. The man responded, his tone unwavering. "When your views hurt others, they stop being views. Discrimination and disrespect have no place here." A round of applause broke out among the other customers. The woman, visibly flustered, looked around, trying to avoid their stares. Her anger seemed to boil over as she grumbled, "This is outrageous," pointing her finger at Kevin. "I'll make sure everyone knows how rude you all are." Kevin remained calm, his expression composed. "You're free to do so," he said. "But just so you know, several people here have already recorded this incident. The truth will speak for itself." Those words silenced her. She looked down, clutching her bag tightly, her face now a mix of anger and shame. Without another word, she turned and stormed toward the door. The bells jingled sharply as she pushed it open and left. The moment she was gone, one of the customers called out, "Way to go, Amelia!" Others joined in, clapping and cheering. My face flushed, but this time it wasn't from embarrassment. It was from pride. For the first time, I truly felt supported. Kevin turned to me, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "You okay?" he asked gently. I nodded, smiling. "I'm fine," I said, still standing. After the woman stormed out, slamming the door behind her, the tension in the bakery slowly began to dissipate. A few customers whispered among themselves, while others quietly scrolled through their phones. Most, however, chose to move on, resuming their orders as if nothing had happened. I took a deep breath and turned to Kevin. His unwavering support had kept me grounded, but inside, I still felt a storm of emotions. Kevin looked at me, his voice calm and reassuring. "Dealing with things like this isn't easy, Amelia," he said, "but the courage you showed was remarkable. Take a break if you need to, or keep going. It's up to you." I nodded, determined. "I'll keep going," I said. "I don't want to run away." Kevin smiled, then turned to assist the other customers. In the background, I noticed a middle-aged woman approaching me. Her hair was streaked with gray, and she wore a gentle smile. "I'm proud of you," she said softly. "That woman had to face the truth, and you handled it with such grace." "Thank you," I replied humbly. She nodded. "Remember this, young lady," she said. "It's easy to stay silent in the face of injustice, but you didn't let yourself be silenced. Stay strong." Her words warmed my heart. After placing her order, she smiled and left the bakery. As more customers came up, some greeted me with a silent nod, while others offered kind words of encouragement. Their support eased the weight of what had happened earlier. A little while later, the suited man who had spoken up earlier approached the counter again. "Amelia," he said warmly, Do you realize how inspiring you were today? People will remember your strength." "Thank you," I said politely, though I still felt a bit uneasy. I was just doing my job. He smiled, tilting his head slightly. Some people make the world a better place just by doing their job. After picking up his order, he thanked me again and left. The rest of the day passed with echoes of the morning's events lingering in the air. As the bakery quieted down toward closing time, Kevin approached me, holding an envelope. "This is for you," he said. "You stood tall today in front of everyone. You're not just a great employee, you're a remarkable person." When I opened the envelope, tears welled up in my eyes. Inside was a note from Kevin, and his words gave meaning to everything I had endured that day. "Thank you for the strength and grace you showed today. You make this bakery a better place." At that moment, I didn't just feel like an employee, I felt like a valued human being. The challenges of the day, though difficult, had turned into an unforgettable experience because of the overwhelming support I received. As the day gradually slowed down, the weight of the morning's events still lingered within me. While I appeared to have moved past it, a subtle unease remained. Kevin's unwavering support and the kind words from the customers had warmed my heart, yet the echoes of the incident replayed in my mind. While I continued to assist customers, a little girl walked into the bakery holding her mother's hand. Her eyes fixated on me, and slowly she approached the counter. In a sweet, soft voice, she said, "You're very brave." I looked at her in surprise, then knelt down to her level, smiling warmly. "Thank you," I said gently. "That means so much to me." She held out some money and asked, "Can I have a chocolate chip cookie?" I nodded, picking out the best one we had, and handed it to her. "This one's on me," I said. Her eyes lit up with joy, and her mother smiled at me from afar, nodding in appreciation. That small but heartfelt gesture momentarily eased the burden of the morning. Witnessing the kindness in people's hearts felt like a balm for my soul. As the bakery neared closing time, Kevin approached me. His expression was warm but tired. "Amelia," he said, "what you did today didn't just inspire the people here. It's reaching people beyond these walls, too. Did you know that?" His words caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" I asked. He pulled out his phone and showed me a video. A customer had recorded the morning incident and posted it on social media. The video had already garnered thousands of views and hundreds of positive comments. "Thank you for handling this with such grace. People like Amelia make the world a better place. Justice and kindness always win." As I read the comments, my eyes filled with tears. In that moment, I realized that what happened today extended far beyond the bakery. "I didn't expect this," I whispered. Kevin placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "You're special, Amelia. You inspire people." It was then that I truly understood the value of everything that had transpired. The challenges I had faced had made me stronger, and touching people's hearts had made this day unforgettable. As I locked the bakery doors, a renewed sense of hope filled me. Goodness always prevails. That night, as I walked home, my mind was still consumed by the events of the morning and the overwhelming comments I had seen on social media. The sheer amount of support I had received filled me with both pride and disbelief, yet I never imagined the incident would resonate so deeply. As I lay in bed, one question echoed in my mind. Had this moment only changed my life, or had it left an impact on others as well? The next morning, as I arrived at the bakery, I noticed a small group of people waiting by the door. One of them, a woman holding a bouquet of flowers, caught my eye. "Amelia?" she asked, smiling warmly. Surprised, I nodded. "These are for you," she said, extending the flowers. "What for?" I asked, my eyes welling up with tears. "After what I saw yesterday," she said, "I wanted to thank you. Your courage and kindness inspired all of us. The world needs more people like you." I accepted the flowers, overwhelmed and unsure of what to say. Nothing like this had ever happened to me before. As the woman turned and walked away, I felt a deep sense of joy and responsibility. I placed the flowers behind the counter and began my workday. As the day went on, I noticed the incident was still making waves on social media. A news outlet had picked up the story and shared the video, captioning it, "A bakery employee confronted racism with grace. Watch and be inspired." Beneath the post were hundreds of comments, praising not just me, but also Kevin's unwavering support. One customer, while collecting their order, turned to me and said, "We're all so proud of you." In that moment, I realized I wasn't just a bakery employee. I had become a symbol of something greater. In our small corner of the bakery, a powerful lesson had unfolded. Later that evening, as I was leaving, Kevin stopped me. "Amelia," he said, "a few news outlets want to interview us tomorrow, but it's your choice. If you're not ready, there's no pressure." I looked at him, my emotions conflicted. I had always been a bit shy, unaccustomed to this kind of attention, yet I saw it as an opportunity to inspire others. Taking a deep breath, I said, "I'll do it." Kevin nodded, smiling. "I knew you'd make the right decision," he said. As I walked home, thinking about what the next day might bring, I realized this wasn't just my story anymore. It was a chance to touch the lives of others and perhaps a beginning to something much greater. The next morning, when I arrived at the bakery, the atmosphere was unlike any other day. A news crew was waiting by the door. Cameras, microphones, and bright lights greeted me, and I felt a wave of nervousness wash over me. Kevin walked up to me, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "Are you ready?" he asked. I wanted to appear confident, but my slightly trembling hands gave me away. I took a deep breath and smiled. "Yes, I'm ready." As the interview began, the reporter first asked how I started working at Brooks Bakery. Calmly, I shared my story, explaining what this place meant to me and how it had become such a big part of my life. But when the conversation shifted to the events of the previous day, my emotions surged. I recounted everything: the woman's hurtful words, the sting they left, and the unwavering support I received from the customers and Kevin that gave me strength. "What did you learn from this experience?" the reporter asked. I paused for a moment, then spoke from the heart. "I learned that kindness is always essential," I said. "But I also realized how important it is to stand up for the respect we all deserve. Staying silent is often easier, but doing the right thing is always worth more." When the interview ended, a customer entered the bakery carrying a painting. "This is for you," she said, placing the artwork on the counter. It was a beautiful depiction of Brooks Bakery, with a woman, me, standing in front of it. The background was aglow with light, people, and a warm ambiance. "I wanted to capture this moment," she said. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I found myself speechless. Throughout the day, the outpouring of support continued. Every customer greeted me with a heartfelt smile and a few kind words. Kevin approached me later in the afternoon, pulling me aside. "Amelia," he said, "you're not just our best employee. You're the soul of this bakery. You've inspired people, and that's no small feat." As I walked out at the end of my shift, a deep sense of peace washed over me. After everything that had happened, I realized I wasn't just someone who had endured a challenging moment. I was someone who had touched lives. On my way home, I thought about how Brooks Bakery was so much more than a bakery. It was a place where dreams, courage, and solidarity came together, and I felt immense pride in being part of it.